What's going on, everyone? Mike Kadlick and Tayler Kyles here for CLNS Media, getting you ready for Patriots 2024 training camp. A reminder, we are powered by Prize Picks, the exclusive daily fantasy partner of the CLNS Media Network. Make sure to head over there and use code CLNS for a first deposit match bonus up to $100. Terms apply. Paris Olympics happening. Go check it out. Team USA basketball. You get your Prize Picks over there. So back to the Patriots, because they are starting training camp on Wednesday. We just spoke to head coach Jerod Mayo, who said that he was frank. He doesn't have all the answers yet. First-time head coach. Kind of still getting into the groove of things. Some highlights included that they're starting practice at 11 a.m. instead, and he also mentioned that full attendance today. Devon Godshaw, Matthew Judon still in their hold-in period type thing with their contract situations, obviously, but they're going to be here and they expect them to practice. So, Taylor, what were your main takeaways from what Jerod Mayo had to say?
Yeah, Mayo kind of gave you all the right answers, that the relationships are still good and everything's copacetic and they're going to do everything possible to get a deal done. I don't know if everything possible is necessarily what he meant, or if it's everything possible, it's everything possible within the ramifications the Patriots themselves set.
Of course.
Now, with Matthew Judon, who spoke to Pat's Cap, make sure to check that Pat's Daily podcast out on YouTube. But he did mention that he thinks Matthew Judon is more likely to get done. Okay. Probably just going to be a matter of guarantees in 2024 and 2025 with maybe some kind of, wiggle room or something worked out for 2026. With Devon Godshaw, less likely. Miguel Benzon actually thinks that he could end up getting traded because of the role that he has in this defense. We know that it seems like they're leaning towards more people with pass rush upside. With run defense, you got to give a little bit of both. Anthony Jennings, really more of a run defender, but he's also somebody who creates negative plays. Godshaw mentioned it himself. A lot of his impact doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but I do wonder whether that's part of the reason the Patriots are drawing the line and saying potentially, hey, we're not going to give you X amount of dollars. So I think Jerod Mayo is saying what he needs to. Again, Judon, I'd probably believe it more, but with Devon Godshaw, it might be tough just considering he may have a different idea of what his value is than what the team actually has. But also, I like Jerod Mayo mentioning he's going to make his mistakes. He's mentioned I don't know what I don't know and all that kind of stuff. We've already seen him have to apologize for comments he's made, but that self-awareness is pretty good. Again, this is a first-year coach. As long as he doesn't take himself too seriously, and I feel like that's a trademark for Jerod Mayo, I think it'll really help in this, obviously, rebuild year where things are going to get tough, but they're going to have to find a way through it and understand that, like he mentioned, the measure for success is the foundation, and that's really what this year is going to be about.
Yeah, the other thing I'll just add on the contract situation too quickly is that he mentioned that at the end of the day, this is a business, and so they want these guys around. Jawan Bentley, we spoke to him as well. He said they want these guys around. Mentioned how important Judon is to their front and everything like that, and they want him to get something across the finish line. But at the end of the day, it is a business. So if you don't see these guys, in your future and beyond, you're just going to kind of give them a pay pump just because. I don't really see it. I think that's kind of how the front office probably sees it as well. So I could see either of these guys getting traded if they don't get a deal done at some point throughout training camp. The other thing I wanted to kind of touch on is the 11 a.m. start time, which it doesn't seem like a big deal. Last year and throughout the Bill Belichick era, they started at 10 in the morning with a coach press conference at 9:30. They're bumping things up 1 hour, and we asked Jawan Bentley about it, and he said that he likes it because they get their meetings done in the morning, but it also gets them closer to game time. They have a ton of 1 p.m. kickoffs this season, and he mentioned that overseas it's generally an earlier start time, but over here, it's a 1 p.m. start, and it gets them closer to that game time. So, what do you make of the earlier start or the later start? Is it a big deal, not a big deal? And is this just another sign of changing times with the Mayo regime?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. I think, one, it was a good idea that Bentley mentioned. I didn't even think about that. The closer you get to actually playing in football weather, where on hot days, it's probably going to be the hottest it is for the entire day around that 1 o'clock time. Right. So definitely made sense. Also, the fact that he said they want to make sure that they're ready. And he mentioned how sometimes players, when they would come in more at 10 o'clock, you wouldn't always be sure if they had done what they needed to the night before to make sure they were ready. Right. Obviously, they're all professionals, and there's a certain standard that needs to be kept. But Mayo, being a player, he brings that experience of understanding what it's like on the other side and what could potentially get the best out of players. Also mentioned they were probably going to switch up the schedule a little bit and have, guys come in or start at different times to kind of keep the body fresh and make sure you don't really know what's necessarily coming. Obviously, that's going to have some kind of structure because I know players like Trent Brown mentioned it's not fun when you have no idea what the plan is. Right. But I think they're going to find some way to toe that line. And, I think the idea behind it makes a lot of sense. But, of course, like with anything with this new regime, we're just going to have to see how it actually works in execution.
Yeah, for sure. Everything's new right now. New head coach, new quarterback room, new front office reshuffle that was announced last week. So everything's brand new. We're going to see how it all plays out on the practice fields at Gillette Stadium starting on Wednesday. So make sure you keep it here on Patriots Press Pass and look out for all of our written work on CLNSmedia.com.
Make sure to subscribe to Patriots Press Pass for all your Patriots news and updates on YouTube. And for all our written work, make sure you check out CLNSmedia.com.